Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode corporate filings so you don't have to. Today we are diving into Crown Crafts Incorporated's proxy statement. It's not exactly a thriller, but stick around because it reveals some interesting details about how this company is run, who's in charge and how much they get paid. You might think this is boring, but trust me, sometimes the most interesting stories are hidden in plain sight. If you enjoy getting the story behind corporate filings, make sure to subscribe. Join our Discord community, the link is in the description below. First things first, what is a proxy statement? Think of it like a report card and election ballot all rolled into one. Crown Crafts, a company that designs, markets and distributes infant, toddler and juvenile consumer products, is asking its shareholders to vote on some important issues. Things like electing directors, approving executive compensation and choosing their accounting firm. It's basically a peek into the company's governance. The main event is the annual meeting of stockholders in August, where these votes will take place. This document is designed to arm shareholders with the information they need to make those decisions. There are a few key items on the agenda. The most important is electing one Class I director to the board of directors. These board members play a crucial role in overseeing the company's strategy and performance. Then there's a vote on executive pay, where shareholders get to give their opinion on whether the top executives are being compensated fairly, and a few other items. Let's take a look at who's on the board. The chairman of the board is Zenon Esni, and there are other independent directors such as Michael Benstock and Patricia Stensrud. This is important because the board is responsible for making big decisions about the company, so you want to make sure they have the right people in place. One person up for election is Olivia W. Elliott, who is currently serving as Chief Executive Officer and a director. The board recommends you vote for her. She's been with the company for a long time, over 20 years, and has held various positions. That experience is pretty valuable for the company, and the board believes she's a valuable resource. Now, everyone wants to know about director compensation. The board has a program to set and pay compensation for those people serving. It includes annual compensation or fees and equity. As an example, in the director compensation table, a director, Michael Benstock, earns around $63,000 in fees with almost $95,000 in stock awards. Let's dive into the executive compensation section, where things get really interesting. It explains how the company decides how much to pay its top executives. The goal is to align their interests with those of the stockholders. The compensation committee wants to attract and retain talented people and motivate them to increase stockholder value. There are some key components to executive compensation. There are base salaries, bonuses, and long-term incentive awards, mostly in stock. Compensation is structured to attract and retain executives, to recognize meaningful contributions to the company's profitability, and to reward the execution of financial and operational goals. The compensation committee also has authority to claw back payments if there are mistakes that need to be accounted for. Long-term incentive awards is meant to align management and stockholder goals, encouraging long-term strategic decision-making. TWT award levels are partly determined based on the compensation practices of comparable companies, with adjustments for individual and company performance. Time for some numbers. The summary compensation table shows how much the top executives made over the past couple of years. And for the fiscal year 2025, Olivia Elliott, the president and CEO, earned almost $912,000 ISIN. That includes a salary of $400,000 stock awards, worth almost $478,000, and other compensation of about $35,000, other compensation of about $30,50 made over, and other compensation of about $35,000. Craig Demarest, the vice president, earned almost $308,000 in compensation. Donna Sheridan, president and CEO of Nojo Baby 7000. There's also a pay versus performance section that looks at how executive compensation compares to the company's results. We can see that total shareholder return and net income, but as the compensation actually paid to the executives increased, the value of an investment based on total shareholder return actually decreased. In the end, it's up to you to decide if those numbers justify the performance. The outstanding equity awards table shows all unexercised options with market value. This essentially shows what the executives stand to gain if the company does well. For example, Olivia Elliott has roughly 406 stack awards that have yet to vest. There are agreements in place with the executives that guarantees payments for what happens if the company is sold or if they're terminated. If, for example, Olivia Elliott is terminated without cause, she is eligible for many different payments and coverage. Her employment agreement states she can receive a lump sum, a health agreement for 24 months, and reimbursement for job search expenses. Now, the audit committee plays a crucial role in ensuring the company's financial statements are accurate and reliable. They oversee the financial reporting process. They review financials and discuss the firm's independence with KPMG, the company's auditor. The report also breaks down the fees paid to KPMG. In fiscal year 2025, audit fees added up to about $426,000, and tax fees were around $130,000, totaling around $556,000. All these services and changes were approved by the audit committee. Finally, there's information on how stockholders can submit proposals or nominate directors for the next annual meeting. There's a deadline, so if you're a shareholder with something to say, make sure you take note. And that brings us to the end of the report. Crown Craft seems to be a pretty standard company, at least from this filing. Overall, the executive compensation packages are pretty high, and the payments upon termination is standard. You need to decide if this is justified for a company of Crown Craft's size. These long-term strategy decisions might pay off soon or be costly, but at the end of the day, all stockholders will rely on how much you think the CEO will affect the stock. One thing to note, the stock holdings of the directors could be higher. Stock ownership can be a great way to align the interests of the leaders with those of the stockholders, which can lead to higher potential upsides and gains. Stock holdings, however, seem to be in good standing, so they are potentially aligned with the stockholders. So what do you think about how Crown Crafts is run? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you learned something today, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more detailed corporate breakdowns. Also join our Discord community group in the description below. Thanks for watching.